Alright guys, you're going to have to bear with me because there's like a ton of crap I had to set up to try to get this shot. So there might be a little buzzing in the background. The motor's going. So this will be fleshing. Finally getting around to doing this one. This one is a redhead, so it should be kind of good visual. And said if you haven't already, if you want to get into the subscriber giveaway, be sure to check that video out. Leave a like, leave a comment if you're interested, if you want to enter. Drawing is November 1st. And like I said on these videos, if you could give me a like, subscribe. I'm really trying to get up there so I can live stream. So I'm trying to hit to that 1,000. But so we got it skinned here, and I'm kind of zoomed in so I can show you, as it gets closer. So we have it skinned. Actually, like I said, it's so hard to do everything because, my hands are wet and greasy. Let me back out a little bit. All right, so what I did is I hosed it off outside, and that kind of gives it, this kind of fills it up a little bit so it's a little bit more pliable, especially the meat in between the wing bones. That stuff dries out quick and it's hard, but if it's nice and wet, it'll come off. So generally what I'll do is stretch, kind of go with the grain of the feathers. Like I said, I'm going to try, I hope this works out because it's hard to hold, but I'm just trying to, get every angle, and then I'll, just move around, get the different angles. I'll kind of come back on the corner here just to make sure I got, everything along. This is the secondaries that you broke apart. And then on the scaps, you'll want to, so there's kind of a scap before, and I'm just going to kind of go through the areas here and show you, because I'm no point in having this super long. So I'll kind of go in here, and then I just use, kid scissors, and I'm just trying to get, so you can see the scaps. There's non-clean and there's clean, so you can see the skin underneath. So those are important because that's what's going to give the fluff or whatever. I've already got the teal like we did in the other video. So what I do is I hold it up, go through the bottom side first. You don't want to go too far in the skin right here because that's where so you want to make sure it's staying, just make sure it's not getting too much on the skin because then it's just going to create a hole and rip it. This is the side with the glands that we took out. And like I said, I'm just kind of putting some pressure on the back side so you can kind of see. And so a lot of these little areas, as we go through, so let's say like here, I'm always trying to create a flat surface. So I'm trying to, let me zoom in now. Trying to create a flat surface so that way there's no high, if there's a high spot, it's going to rub that, but if it's flat, you'll get it more even. So let me zoom in, get it nice and gruesome for everybody. I could just see the, but again, if you're clicking on a video that says duck fleshing and then complaining, then that's on you. So I'll go do this. Like I said, on some of it, when you get, some of these areas, so let's just say like right here, instead of trying to do the wheel too much, you're going to be better off just kind of getting the scissors and just kind of cleaning that area a little bit. Because if I start hitting this too much with the wheel, it's going to create a tear. So anyway, so you can see just here, I'm trying to create a flat surface. There's some holes obviously I have to deal with, but whatever. You got to shoot them to get them. And so same basic concept, right? So I'm just kind of going. You can go, different angles, kind of going with the line of the feathers. You'll get these little lines. This is the one thing I was hoping would show up. You'll get these little lines in here. Golly, man, can't zoom. This is not going to be a super long video, guys. But you'll get these lines, and then that'll kind of there we go. You want to just scissor those out, because if you keep trying to flesh them out with the machine, it's just going to keep kind of winding and winding. You can kind of go at an outward angle here along the edges, so that way you can kind of see. So it's not straight, it's a little bit outwards. And like I said, if there's anything, I'll hold the leg bone out. Again, I'm just like when I'm skinning, I'm just trying to create tension, and I'm trying to create a flat surface. And I'm not overly going, oh God, I got to get every single. All I'm trying to do is knock the bulk off, because after this, as you can see, it's getting cleaner. Boy, it glistens like freaking snow, doesn't it? So as it's getting cleaner, there we go. I'm going to take, spray it off with the hose outside. That kind of knocks some of that fat off. So so it kind of cleans it a little bit before I put it in the Dawn solution. But then a little bit of this will raise up, and then all I'll do outside is, before the Dawn solution, is just kind of go in any of the spots that have raised, boom, 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 and then I'll just clip it. Obviously, the wheel is a must, because it's going to get, 90-something% just hit from different angles. You want to make sure this little area here, this is the side pockets. So you want to make sure that those get cleaned real well, so you have a nice fluffy bird. Okay, so that's the side. Now we'll do, so we did tail, we did wing, compared to, hold on, I'll just adjust it a little bit here. There we go. And then we have the head. So we'll have, what I'll do here is, I kind of run my finger in there, and then I will, so this is the part where you kind of want to be ginger, because you really don't want a lot of tears in the head area. So from here, same thing. Here I have these little medical scissors that don't squeeze as much. So when I scissor, say like the head, it pinches the fat off, but it doesn't pinch the skin necessarily as much. So then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come along the cheeks. Like I said, you'll have a few areas that are going to be. I'm just trying to keep my thumb underneath these areas, and so you're going to have a little area, like, see if it'll focus. You'll have a little area where, again, it's like there's a little chunk, little area. As long as your thumb's underneath it and you're taking kind of short, you don't want to have any, just real top of the surface crap. And then on the V on the bottom, same thing. I'll kind of stretch the V a little bit, run this along, and then you can actually see where it'll kind of run off my glove. And then you have the V. And then for the neck in general, I'll kind of, the most sensitive area is the top. That's where I'll try to knock off what I can. But if you're doing, say, like a green wing or puddle duck or something like that, man, be real careful. Here, I kind of just, like I said, I don't want to put too much pressure underneath with my fingers, because you'll create a burnout spot. So right here, I'm just, again, trying to get kind of the bulky stuff. And up here, same kind of thing. I'm trying to get, okay, once I start seeing the quills, then I'm going to back off a little bit. And so there's, there's a little area here I can see where there's a little bit of, yeah, you see a little skin. And again, what I generally like to do is just get the scissors and kind of work it. Like I said, this is probably where a dull pair of scissors would come in handy as opposed to sharp. And that's pretty much the whole basis for the head and neck. There's areas with fat, right? So we're going to get, same thing here. This is at the chest area. I'm going to just kind of, work the areas as I see it. Like I said, I'm trying to create a semi-tight kind of surface. So that way it's, especially the pressure on the head and neck, very, very light pressure. Because if you push too much, you're going to have burnouts. And in the head and neck, it's literally the worst place you can do it. But this was all complete fat because the redhead is freaking super fat. Anyway, so you can kind of see here, it's getting cleaner. Body area, I'll go back in with the kid scissors. I probably need to buy a new pair. I'll run through them pretty quick. I mean, you'll run through them every, once a year or so. But I mean, they're $2. So, big chunks. Again, just be careful because it's better to make a bunch of smaller kind of swipes than it is to try to go freaking full dog on it. But you can see there. So then again, I'll try to get it in line with the brush or the bristle. But at the end of the day, when I wash this off with that water hose with a little pressure jet, or a little garden nozzle, I should say, it'll raise up what it needs to raise up, and then scissoring becomes much easier. And then you can squeeze the fat right out of, the remaining quills. So I know a lot of people, I've seen like so many, like if I'm over here fleshing and somebody's dropping off or whatever, they're like, what in the hell? It's always kind of funny to see the reaction because it's like, this is definitely the worst part of taxidermy in general, but it's honestly one of the most important parts too. So it's just kind of, it's best to get in a mindset of, all right, today's going to suck. Be a lot of freaking duck butter, but it is what it is. So again, same thing, just flat surface, kind of work some different angles. If I start seeing an area in particular kind of getting thin, so like, here I'm starting to see it. Let's see. Here I'm starting to see it kind of get thin. So I'm going to kind of work around the other outside edges of it. And again, I rely a lot on, I mean, if you wanted to, you could take it out, wash it, and, get that film up and then come back in and flesh them again. I just kind of feel like if you're outside and you're doing that, once they get real wet, and you're holding all this up and stuff is dripping, water is dripping. I got to rest my arms for a second. You know what I mean? Then it's like you're just kind of creating a lot more, when you're outside and it's water, or once you wash it off, I mean, it's always been just easiest then. It's like you kind of lay it there, scissor the film as it comes up, and then, man, you can get it super, super clean. So, from here, because like, no matter how clean I get this, and, say you get an area, man, you're like, man, that is, God, that's clean, right? Or damn near clean. As soon as you wash this with water, there'll be film start to come up. Like, so, it's just like, that's why doing just the wheel alone is not enough. You got to do, and same thing, I wash these off. I leave these in a little tub of water while I'm working on them. So when I take them out, they're wet, because if you're trying to do them when they're a little bit dry, there's going to be so much that you think you got off, and once you wash it, it's going to be so much come up, it's going to look like you didn't even flesh it at all. And I've had that where you don't wash it off, you're kind of like, it's sticking up, like on this redhead, it's sticking up enough, it should be fine. And I'll flesh it, and I'm like, oh man, it's all the way down to the skin. Okay, cool. And as soon as you hit it with the water hose, and it's like, holy crap, like, did I even flesh this at all? Because there's so much, and I don't know, it's like you would think, like here, it's got blue skin, and it's just, so I don't want to keep it too long, because I know it's just redundancy, but same thing, I'm just grabbing one, just, make sure you're grabbing flat surface, a little bit of tension, not too much, and just, keep your, and then now you're starting to see the blue, but I guarantee as soon as you do that, it'll be parts to scissor up, and then you can see the lines in here, this film that builds. You really need to scissor those out before you, if you leave them there, they'll kind of leave like a little area for the fat to kind of not be knocked off. But anyway, so you can see we're getting there. And so anyway, I'm going to just do that with the rest of it. I don't think there's really anything else other to say than just those basic things. Wash off with the water hose before, squeeze them out. Always keep them in water like a tub. Try to create a flat surface. Go with the kind of lines of the quills. Of course, like a checkerboard, you can go this way or you can go this way. But just going like, say, catty corner, it's not, you're trying to get the wire wheel to knock it off in between the quills. So going kind of at a diagonal is not going to do anything. Make sure you pull the bones out, create a flat surface whenever possible, hand underneath to kind of gauge the pressure you're putting on it. And then after this is done, I'll put it back in the water. Once I have like 6, I think I'm doing today, 5, 6. Then I'll go outside, wash them again with the water. That'll get the film to raise up. And then I'll scissor that. And then I'll turn them inside out, rinse all the feathers off, try to get as much of the fat off as possible just with the water hose. And then I'll squeeze and put them in the heavy Dawn solution. I use in a little tub, Tupperware tub, that holds maybe 6, 7 birds. I'll use half a, I don't know, what would that be? Maybe 4 or 5 ounces of Dawn. Excuse me. I got a freaking down feather. Anyway, guys, so this is the fleshing video. I know I've been wanting to do this for a while because it's not fun to set up and it's not fun to do, but anyway, here it is. So, all right, guys, like I said, please like if you can, and we'll get on to some other stuff. Hopefully this will answer all these and give people an idea. And like I said, even if you're not into mounting birds yourself, when I go places and it's like inevitable that it's brought up, oh, he does birds, mounts this, and then there's, an ensuing 20 questions. And it's like at a party, a gathering, whatever. I mean, not as much now with COVID, but golly. And so it's one of those things where it seems to be an interesting topic. So even with some of the hunters and stuff, I think it's important for them to see kind of this stuff, because then when they drop off a bird, or if they're looking at a bird deciding what to mount, there's kind of stuff that they should kind of be thinking about before they drop it off. This is from a dog fang, because it has a hole here, and then it has a hole right on the other side. So this obviously would have been the breast, because this is the incision, but this is from a dog grabbing it. And and that's damage. And I try to tell people, if you're going to mount a bird, using a dog, but look, this is tooth marks, and this is damage that, we have to deal with and fix. And you know, if it looks like a special, I mean, I know it's like sometimes you never know. All of a sudden it comes in banded, it comes in hybrid, it comes in whatever, but shit, man, I mean, it makes it difficult. And especially for upland birds, God bless, man, because you could lose feathers, you lose all kinds of stuff. But anyway, point being is, I think a lot of hunters themselves should be able to watch this stuff and see kind of what goes on into it. So when they pick a bird up, a deer up, a freaking whatever, they can be like, oh shit, it's like a lot of actual hard work that goes into it. It's not just, you know, skin a bird out, stuff them with, you know, pillow stuffing, and then bam, you know, where's my money? It's like that's so far from the freaking truth. So that's kind of the reason too I like showing people this, is so they can see, oh wait, this is actually, I don't want to do this, because I hear so many guys are like, oh, I know I'm going on a rant, but whatever. It's like so many guys that go, oh man, I think about doing birds, I'm gonna try them out. Nah, man. Unless you plan on doing like 30 or 40 before you get to a point where they're decent enough, and that's not even decent enough to take money from somebody, unless you have that kind of going into it. You know, I've had guys I've tried to help out, and they get freaking to 5 birds in, and then with a bunch of my help, the birds are like not even 50% passable commercial wise. And then and then they're like, yeah, I'm gonna start my own business. You know, it's like, no, I wouldn't do that, man. You're gonna upset a lot of people once you start dealing with shit like this. You know, with holes and everything else. And then, no, you know, everybody knows best. And then they end up, you know, fly by night and, you know, putting a bad name. So then the next guy that comes in is like, oh, well, last guy I dealt with screwed me over. So I'm assuming you're probably going to screw me over too. So it's just, you know, people need to know what goes into a lot of this stuff. So that's why hopefully not, you know, besides just people doing bird taxidermy or watching, because, you know, I just, some of that stuff, man, just rubs me the wrong way. And anyway, I think the next one I'm gonna do is actually on supplies and shit, because that's another one where people are, I think, are getting boned a lot, and I'm gonna do one on that. But anyway, that's fleshing. I'm gonna leave. No more rant. Bye.